Shalom, did you know that studies show that 99% of Orthodox rabbis, Messianics, and Hebrew root leaders doesn't know the biblical definition of sin according to Moses? Unfortunately, studies show that 99% of Messianic leaders and Hebrew root leaders doesn't know the biblical definition of sin according to Moses. They're happy with the verses that they use in the New Testament, but ending with the behavior that they don't know and they really don't care. When in reality, the biblical definition of sin according to Moses is the root of all types of sin. For the 1% of Messianic and Hebrew root leaders that does know what sin according to the New Testament is, this is the verse that they use. 1 John 3:4, King James, whoever commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. NIV, everyone who sins breaks the law. In fact, sin is lawlessness. New Living Translation, everyone who sins is breaking God's law, for all sin is contrary to the law of God. English Standard Version, everyone makes a practice of sinning, also practice lawlessness. Sin is lawlessness. The word law in Greek is nomia. Nomia means instructions, and instructions in Hebrew means Torah, later translated in English as law. The word law can distract the believer because anytime a person reads or hears that word in any type of way, the first thing that comes to their mind is blue and red police lights. That could put a negative on the person's mind, skipping the importance of the word law. Most Messianics and Hebrew root leaders use the word law as just the 10 commandments, including the weekly Shabbat, the feast, and eating kosher. Anything outside this fence is sin. For an example, smoking marijuana, smoking cigarettes, casual drinking, letting your kids watch rated R movies, or what doesn't fit their personal theology of sin. The proper way of reading 1 John 3:4 is, everyone who sins breaks the Torah of the Creator, for all sin is contrary to the Torah. But most Messianics and Hebrew roots leaders doesn't realize that John is quoting the Torah verbatim, and they don't know where, and they really don't care. So where in the Torah that John is quoting? It's in the book of the Torah that most Messianics, Orthodox Jews, and Hebrew roots leaders doesn't read because they don't really understand. The Torah teaches us that truth cannot be told through one witness. One must need two or more. So let's search the Torah to find two witnesses of the biblical definition of sin according to Moses and understand where John is quoting. The two witnesses for truth of the biblical definition of sin according to Moses and where John is quoting in the Torah is Leviticus 4:1 and Leviticus 5:15, procedures for sin and guilt offering.
Chapter 4. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Give the Israelites the following instructions for dealing with those who sin unintentionally by doing anything forbidden by the Lord's commands." Then the Lord said to Moses, "If any of the people sin by unintentionally defiling the Lord's sacred property, they must bring to the Lord a ram from the flock as their guilt offering. If any of them sin by doing something forbidden by the Lord, even if it is done unintentionally, they will be held responsible. When they become aware of their guilt, they must bring to the priest a ram from the flock as a guilt offering. This is a guilt offering, for they have been guilty of an offense against the Lord."
The biblical definition of sin according to Moses means if you're walking in righteousness and you happen to break any of the Creator's commandments or against your neighbor, accidentally or unintentionally, you have sinned and you're guilty of that sin. And when you become aware of that guilt, you have to confess that sin. This is when the believer must know all the Creator's commandments from Mount Sinai of Exodus all the way to Deuteronomy. The order of how Leviticus 4 was written is also a hidden in plain sight reminder of our rebellion with the golden calf for violating the Creator's blood covenant at Mount Sinai. Remember, it was Aaron, the priest, that took the gold of the women and the wives and the children and made the golden calf. That's why the Torah says when the priest sins, he must sacrifice a bull, because the bull is a reminder of the golden calf. After Aaron had made the calf, a community of Israel worshiped the calf, but not all Israel worshiped the calf. That's why the Torah says when the priest sins and brings guilt upon the community must sacrifice a bull, because the bull is a reminder of the golden calf. This includes the elder and the people that was in that community. This is where we get the term in the Bible, they lead Israel to sin like a bad shepherd leading sheep. The Creator holds his priests and kings to the highest standard of behavior and obedience to the Torah. Understand the weight of sin. Remember, if an Israelite sins by lying, God will punish that Israelite for that sin. However, if a priest or king commits that same sin, the priest and king will suffer more divine punishment than the Israelite. This is why when we read 1 John 3:4 and James 2:10, they all sum it down that sin is contrary to the Torah of the Creator.